Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
What is up, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? You have joined us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a week. It's been a week so far, and I know it's only that I won't give away what day it is in the recording, but let's just say it's early and it's already been a week, so I'll just leave it at that. If it's your first time joining us on the show, let me tell you what we do. We are the podcast that dives into the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen, and we do it one track at a time. I am your co-host, Mark Kamier. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, are you staying thawed out over there?
No, it is very, very cold, and therefore I'm having all sorts of technical issues because internet doesn't want to work, vehicles don't want to start, skin freezes almost instantly, so I'm holding on by a thread. But fortunately, we brought in tons of help this week. It's the stars of the Chaz Charles Podcasting Universe joining us here tonight. And so I thought, who better to introduce the stars of the CCPU than the man himself, Mr. Chaz Charles. How you doing, Chaz?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great. Thanks for having us in here. Corey, man, woo, we're enjoying some of your weather. I think it's -6 right now.
You like
Didn't
it?
get much above, 0 all day. Oh, well, we get that stuff. So no, don't like it at all. Thank you very much.
Mark got some of that stuff too in Nashville. They're not used to
Mark, how
snow
you
in
doing?
Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah, did you get some ice?
An unprecedented 8 inches of snow. I don't believe
shit.
ice because we don't get that in the South very often or at all. So it's interesting. I don't think it's a lot of ice. However, they are calling for everything to freeze over overnight. So tomorrow might be a problem for people. I myself am staying shacked up inside. So I'm staying far away from that. But weather be damned. We're gonna heat this up with some rock and roll, a la Van Halen.
Yes. Hell
Chaz,
yes.
You didn't come alone.
I did not.
Usually yourself, your presence is more than enough because you're such a grand presence on this show. Even when you're not on the panel itself, you're just lurking. But here you are, and you didn't come alone. Would you please give us some introductions?
That's right. I didn't come alone. I'm here and I got backup tonight because, you guys have been laying it on a little thick past couple of shows. I've been listening. I've been lurking. Been taking some smacks. So I got my boys with me here tonight, and we have a special announcement, a big announcement that is for your listeners only. Truly, huge announcement. So let me start with the people you may have heard me talk about in the chat or on the show. I want to go to Greg Wolfie Wolf. Greg Wolfie Wolf is here. He's from Regarding series of podcasts. We started with Lulu. We're on Roger Waters, Roger Whittaker, whatever. Greg, hello.
Hey, hello everybody. Great to be here. Great to be with you guys tonight.
Thanks for being here.
What's up, Greg?
And coming over on the other side from Rush Rash, Mr. Schatz. The Schatz himself, Alan Schatzberg.
How are you guys? Thanks
Holy
for having
shit,
me.
he speaks. I never knew that you had a voice because I've been on Rush Rash and it's just Chaz for like 4 hours straight.
Fucking guy was speaking more in the 5 minutes we were waiting to get on the air than he speaks on my whole fucking show. But here we are. Okay, so tonight it's the Schatz show yet again. But hey, between the three of us, we have an announcement. We got a special announcement tonight. We have a new co-host joining the Regarding series in season 3. We're going to be covering a new record. As you know, we started out, Wolfie, what was it? Lulu, Metallica, season 1, right?
Yeah.
Season 2 here has been Dark Side of the Moon Redux, which is, what did we decide, Wolfie? We are the podcast that does what? We listen so you...
We listen so you don't have to.
I like
That's
that because I don't want to. You're doing the Lord's work, my friend.
You know what?
right.
So we're taking medals, we're taking honors, but we are doing a special for episode 3 or season
boy.
3. And I think I want to turn it over to our Wolfie, to our new co-host for season 3, Mr. Scott Monroe here, who is going to give the rest of the announcement. Scott, please.
Yeah, all right. Well, this is the big surprise, guys, and guess what? I make no apology for it.
Oh, yes.
Apologies.
Repping the
That's
apologies to
right.
Gary shirt. Yes. The
Wearing
Wearing
Army
my
grows.
apologies to Gary's shirt. You have your Army mark. It is getting bigger, and guess what? You may have wished for this, and you may regret it. Here it comes
Uh-oh.
regarding Van Halen 3.
Oh, Lord.
Season 3, yes, of the regarding
All right.
series. The mastermind himself, you've got right here. Scott has engineered this. He's doing all the prep in the background. He's got shit lined up that he is totally changing the regarding format, but totally appropriate. Scott, you want to take the grilling from these guys on what we're doing?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I had this idea last year sometimes, whenever we would get on a Van Halen 3 track, of course, there were some complicated things to say. Everyone had strong feelings. And, truth be told, I do feel a little defensive of the album and the era. That was my introduction to Van Halen. It was the first concert I went to seeing Gary. So I have some mixed feelings on it and a lot of thoughts, but I think, why not take what we've done here on this podcast and expand on it and go as deep as we possibly can into Van Halen 3. And as Chaz has seen, we've got a lot of feelers out there right now with some special guests, and hoping we can line up some big ones, including the Big Kahuna too. Working on that one. The lines of communication are open. So really looking forward to being able to dive into every track on the album and get a lot of our special guests on. Everyone, of course, from this show is invited to come on, all of our patrons here. And I'm sure Corey and Mark, you don't know it yet, but you're going to be a guest too at some point. I'm
Fine, I'll come on. Quit begging. God.
Balls deep into Van Halen 3, you say. Well, if the regarding
Nice.
series tagline wasn't apt enough of "we listen so you don't have to," well, it's certainly noteworthy for this particular series. But honestly, if you were going to do a regarding Van Halen 3 podcast, you couldn't have done it without Scott Monroe. And although Corey and I do not agree with Scott's assessment of the infamous Van Halen 3 album, I actually love that Scott is so passionate about it, and I love that he has the personal connection to it, and that's great. That's we all have our personal connections to certain music and certain albums, and even when there are so many people telling us absolutely not, that's wrong, like, fuck you, you're wrong. So so I actually love that you guys are doing this. Hats off to you. If I were a religious person, I would give you the Catholic cross, because blessings to you on that journey.
Well, we're taking collections. Here's the collection plate. We can take care of that. Here's the collection plate. We'll say a special prayer for you. But we're kind of doing just taking it what you've done here already. I mean, because as Scott said, there's been so much robust discussion both online and on the show for every track that's come up on this. I've spread a mixed opinion on the thing. So you got Scott's take, you got my mixed opinion, and then you got Wolfie, who's never heard it.
That's the one I'm interested in hearing, is the new listener. I gotta tell you, well, Van Halen 3 is growing on me. I've spun it a few times, and still every week before I log on to this call to do this show, my sound check song has always been Without You from Van Halen 3. I'm really, really loving that track. It's becoming one of my favorites. So.
Well, look at you.
And my challenge to Chaz and others, when we go into this, try to leave some of that Van Halen baggage behind and just judge it on its merits. Maybe listen to it from a different perspective. I think a lot of our problem with it was we came into it with that Van Halen history and baggage. So it'll be interesting to see if we can come at it from a different perspective.
I don't know, man. One still sucks.
A really good. I actually really like that take. And
100%.
I will do my best when it launches. I will do my best to try and have that perspective. It's going to be difficult considering the journey that Corey and I have gone through on this show with that album and what we already know. But I look forward to that.
Awesome, man. So I think, what did we say? So still in season 2 of regarding Roger Waters. And when have we just gotten through Wolfie? I think we got through track, what, 7?
We put out 6, I think was the last one we put
6. Okay, yeah,
that we
7's in
dropped,
production.
right?
Yeah. So 7's in production now. So we've got a few more tracks, and then we have a wrap up. So season 2, what did we say, Scott? That's coming when?
I think we're aiming for the
Or
spring
season
sometime,
3,
right?
season 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the spring. So sometime April, May is when that season will launch. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to a lot of folks around here, contributing to the conversation.
So is that regarding Gary or regarding Van Halen 3? What are you titling it?
Oh, it's regarding Van Halen 3.
Okay.
You have to, we're considering the work, not just any individual. No.
Gotcha. I can't wait.
Well,
I think it's going to be
We're very
fantastic.
serious over there. Very serious.
You are required to wear the shirt though, Fred.
I have one.
Yeah.
I have one. I
have
can
to
come on
order
the
the
show.
one.
I got one.
There you go. So, well, looking forward to that, and happy to have you all on the show to talk about some Van Halen. Hey, who knows? You might get a jump start because we do still have on the wheel
We do.
a single track left from Van Halen 3. So, but before we get into all of that, hey, Corey, what's going on in the Van Halen news?
Well, I tell you, we got a couple of different articles this week. Van Halen News Desk, of course, www.vhnd.com. Great interview here and story by our good friend Eric Senich, behind the scenes with Dave Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. We talked about that last week. I bring it up again because we mentioned Darren Paltrowitz. Darren Paltrowitz scheduled to be on our show here, Mark, coming up at the end of January. So we're going to get Darren back on here, hopefully spin a DLR cut, and talk about his new book, which is just flying off the shelves. Everyone's talking about it. Absolutely a great book there. So go and check out that article again. There's also a great little story here. Eddie Van Halen taught me how to fly. It's about a young woman. It's a really lengthy article. Debbie Pinkney, who talks about her love of Van Halen and her journey through Van Halen. She got some great pictures here. That was her room way back in the day, which I'm really jealous of. I wish my wife would let me do this in my bedroom, but she won't. Although I do have some Eddie Van Halen pictures in the background of my shot now. Just great stuff. There's a current picture of Debbie in her wall that I'm in the great OU812 T-shirt. So you can check out that story on there. I love hearing about Van Halen fans and their kind of journey with the band. So I really enjoyed that read. And then, of course, the big piece of news, everyone on our Discord's been talking about it. Joe Satriani is going to have a special amp built to replicate Eddie Van Halen's sound. He talked about how not only is Eddie a genius, but, to try and kind of recreate that feel, he's getting some special amps made because, and he really goes in depth about, what he learned after doing the Howard Stern show and all the comments he got about how he performed some of that material. So he's getting some special gear made up to try and replicate the sound. And little tidbits at the end where he talks about the set they're building. He really wants the Van Halen stuff to pop. Then he says, then we're doing Montrose, we're doing Sammy Hagar solo stuff, we're doing Satriani stuff, we're doing Chicken Foot. It's a really fun set list. So they're already kind of working on the set list, going through rehearsals. He's going to get these amps. He's going to do the best job he can, and I can't wait. I'm going to see him in July in Toronto, Ontario, a summer night out on Lake Ontario. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So you can check out that interview as well, written up by Eric Senich on the Van Halen News Desk.
Hell yeah! Man, my brain's trying to process Satriani with the classic Eddie's sound. I think they can do it. It's not. I mean, we talk about on the show all the time. Eddie is often imitated, never duplicated, and I think they know that going into it. But they're gonna try. They're gonna at least try and give you the audience member the sort of sonic visualization, for lack of a better word, of what you might have if you never experienced Van Halen live. This guy, then we give you the best experience that we can given the circumstances of it all. So, and Satriani's a damn good guitar player, so I think we're in good hands for that tour, man. Anybody planning on going to see this tour, you absolutely should find a way. I know I will be, and hopefully not just cry tears of joy, but we'll see what happens. I make no such promises. All right.
No, I'm happy they're doing it, man. Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Someone's
I
gotta
don't
fly the
think,
flag.
Mark, in the interview there, he mentions again his performance of Mean Street on the Stern Show. So I think he recognizes that kind of gave maybe the wrong impression to some people, and he's letting us know, don't worry, guys, it's going to be better.
Good call, Scott.
Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
I'm Joe Satriani. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry.
He's doing it out of spite. He's just like,
No.
oh, you're gonna talk shit about me online, are you? Oh yeah, I'll show you.
He talks a lot about the harmonics, and he said if you don't have the right rig, he's hitting those harmonics, but you're not hearing him like you would when Eddie played him, right? So that's why he's going to try and recreate that sound. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have to try and do an Eddie Van Halen impression. Be Joe Satriani. That's cool. I don't think he's gone that far yet. He's just trying to say, I'm just trying to harmonically kind of get that same kind of punch that Eddie did, because maybe he was hitting those notes on Main Street. It just didn't quite come through.
He wants to stand in front of that amp and feel the hair raise up off his arm.
Yep.
That's what he's going for.
I don't think just a new amp is going to he's going to be able to achieve Eddie's sound and feel and finesse and nuance. There's a lot more to it. I could sit behind Neil Peart's drum kit. I'm not going to sound like Neil.
So you're not one of those drummers auditioning. Are you bothering Geddy Lee right now to be the drummer for the new Rush, Schatz? Is that you that he's talking about?
No, okay. I want to let them have a peaceful retirement or do whatever it is they want to do.
Exactly. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, he definitely is not for anybody sitting in that chair. No, he's not for anything called Rush like that anymore. No.
That's right.
Fair enough. All right. Well, if that's the news, what do you say we go over to last week's episode and poll? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So last week we covered a very popular, and I do mean popular in the terms pop, Van Halen song, because we discussed "Dance the Night Away" from Van Halen 2, a song Corey and myself are very keen on. To me, it's one of their classic tunes. Just good feeling rock and roll song, and apparently most of the audience felt the same way, because we got a whopping 91.6% the dream is made what dreams are made of versus an 8.4 the dream is over. And this voting went pretty much how I expected to, because I don't think we've come across anything from Van Halen 1 or 2 that wasn't below 90%. Now I don't have the chart in front of me, so I can't speak on that. Corey, I'm sure you can.
Well, here it is. Yeah.
But
currently,
but there's not a lot of downvoting.
No, the right now the top song on Van Halen 2 is DOA, 96.2%. Then Bottoms Up, 94.4, tied with Light Up the Sky, and then Woman in Love. And then Dance the Night Away comes in at number 6, 91.6. And then you get Beautiful Girls, You're No Good, and Out of Love Again. Being the low one on Van Halen 2 so far at only 80%.
Oh wow, okay, so I stand corrected. So there is an 80%. There are some Roth era tunes you guys aren't so keen on, huh? I see. All right,
Corey, I sent you the link to the updated Chazalytics.
Have you
not
updated
get that?
Yeah. You got to let me know when you update the Chazalytics.
Oh, sorry. Well, I sent it through that Discord thing, whatever. There.
Oh, I don't read that.
No worries.
Okay.
Looking at spreadsheets.
He sees the word Chaz and he's just like, I'll get to it at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to this guy ranting. Oh no, not the tableau, the flourish, the story.
Oh, okay.
Chaz is as if you guys don't recall, he is our resident chart man in our graphs and charts. Chaz's charts, and they're all pretty actually Chazalytics, very fascinating stuff, and a lot of patience must go into it. Patience I don't have, so we have Chaz to do it, so that we don't have to.
Yeah, but the stories are self-evident. Yes, Dave is still up there, all over the place.
Nevertheless, it's David Lee. It's an early Roth era tune, so not a lot of downvoting happening, and I'm very happy to see that at 91%, almost 92% of people voted yes on that. So let's go into the tweets and see what people are saying about Dance the Night Away. I have a feeling a lot of people are saying a lot. And we're going to start with our old friend Heath McCoy. Heath McCoy says, this one's so good, it's almost a no-brainer. Van Halen's mastery of a pop hook was always one of their great strengths, Dave and Sammy eras, and this is one of their great pop hooks. One of the greatest showcases of their incredible harmonies, too. The whole band is cooking. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I'm actually kind of surprised because sometimes Heath comes in with these hot takes on particular Van Halen songs about whether he wants to upvote or downvote. So I'm kind of surprised the poppiness of Dance the Night Away works for him. So good on you there, bro. All right, moving on. Let's see. Rava Flav, our friend Rava Flav says, pretty ballsy for the band to go back to their backyard party formula for their second album, and it works beautifully. Talk about Dave's wheelhouse. Harmonies too. However, Out of Love Again only got 80%. Is this when the poll was loaded with David Lee Roth haters? No, Rava. I don't believe there are Roth haters except for, me when we're talking about him re-recording songs now. I absolutely hate that. I can't stand it.
I'm with you. Totally.
But no, it's based on how the voting goes, how the poll results go. I don't think there are David Lee Roth haters. There are certainly Sammy haters, though, and that drives me crazy. But if there are David Lee Roth haters, then let us know, because I just want to know that you're out there, and then I want to ask you why. But moving on, let's see here. I lost my list there. Nope, we'll get it. We'll get it back. Brad Gould says, light, fun, and the harmonies. Hashtag what dreams are made of. So it keeps it nice and simple there. Greg Zito says this track hits the sweet spot with some of the best harmonies in the entire catalog. No arguments. Davey Lee Smith says, absolutely love it. Just pure catchy pop rock perfection. Nothing more, nothing less. What dreams are made of. Yes. And Jeff Brewer says, not my personal favorite, but this song should beat Little Guitars. It's a crime that it's not above 97%. The bulk of my rant is on Discord. I'll go get to that here in just a second. I knew this wasn't going to crack 97%. I probably agree with you that it should have, but I mean, I didn't expect that to. So that's wishful thinking on your part, my dude. Let's see here, and I think that will do it for the tweets. Oh wait, maybe one more there. Yes, that's the tweet. So now we go over to Discord. By the way, you guys, we had a lot of tweets on this one, but if you want your tweet guaranteed read on the show, join the Discord like these people I'm about to read from our Discord here. And I know you're on the show already, Scott, so I could just throw it to you, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually read out.
I pay you to do that, Mark. You do it.
You do. You literally do. So I'm going to do it. So, Scott the Silver Surfer Monroe says, good enough. Nope, not good enough. I'm sorry. Here we go. You got to scroll. Dance the Night Away is delightful. I've always found it soothing with its gentle medium tempo and angelic harmonies. It's a sweet pop sensibility that we normally find layered within swinging rock and shredding, but here it's stripped down to the core. Sidebar, I don't care for the faster tempo when the song was played live in the early days. To use a Goldilocks analogy, that's too hot. The tempo of the studio version is just right. I appreciate the analogy. You go on to say, David Lee Roth's soaring vocal range is the standout element for me. I'd say he's a bit outside of his wheelhouse on this one, and he nails it. Meanwhile, the decisions he makes with certain intonations during the verses are perfect. We probably have Ted Templeman to thank for that. Sidebar 2. It was bonkers amazing when they busted this song out paired with Feel Your Love Tonight at the 98 show with Gary. Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool. Eddie Van Halen's restraint surprisingly carries into the solo, quote unquote, section and comes across as carefully planned out. Every note agonized over and matching the song's feel-good warmth. His playing here also echoes the incredible lullaby-like riff carrying us along. Just lovely melodies that feel like they're being played as we dance under a dazzling summertime night sky. Now that's what dreams are made of. Well, I don't know if you can add anything to that, because that's very beautifully said, Scott, as you are
a little wordy.
One to do. Yeah. I mean,
crowd goes nuts. That was great. That was great.
That's what the manifestos are for. They're wordy, but they get the point across, and that's what we're here for. So, continuing on with the little mini festos, our patron Chad says, so here you go. One of those songs that you have heard a million times, or maybe 1,056. Do you like the song because it's good? Or do you like the song because it's been shoved down your throat a million times? Do you hate the song because it's bad? Or do you hate the song because it's been shoved down your throat a million times? There are these these are the thoughts I wrestle with every time a popular song is put up to the test of merit. This is a fence sitter for me. I love the music. I love the lyrics. You can sing it. You can bob your head to it. You can use this song as a Van Halen introduction song to someone whom is more on the pop side of life. And with all of that, why am I just meh on the song? Is it because it's poppy, boring, and safe? Maybe. Or is it because I'm a contrarian who tends to dislike popular things? Most likely. While a great song, for me, the dream is over. Hashtag never need to hear it again. Wow. Well, there you go. But see, this right here, Chad gives us a very perfect example of, because for most of the time when we get people talking about why they voted the way they do, it's usually we get wordy little mini festos on that based on people voting upwards. We rarely get wordy mini festos from people who don't like the song, with the exception of maybe Scott. I don't even know if you really downvote anything. Do you?
I downvoted once.
Which one?
Once.
Oh,
Once.
literally once. And you're gonna do a Van Halen 3 show.
Literally.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
I know.
Yeah. So, and even then, and you probably, and I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm sorry, but you probably had a lot to say as to the why, and we love
I didn't.
that.
I didn't. I just wrote once blows.
That is, you know what? That's correct. You did. Yes,
What
you did.
more do you
And
need to say?
That's it.
on
Yeah.
it? Honestly, that's it. That's for that song in particular. So, by the way, have fun with this new venture you're about to embark on with Van Halen 3. But no, all that to say, thank you, Chad, for that. And I love the questions that you're posing. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. However, I like that you're asking the questions and you give us an honest reason as to why you downvoted. So thank you. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you. Moving on, Scott Everett, another Scott in our arsenal, because we've got a few. Dance the Night Away is great. It's the epitome of what sets Van Halen apart from everyone else. A rocking tune that you can dance to. The harmonies are pure magic. I hate this argument that something isn't good anymore because it's popular. This is some of the same nonsense that people that downvoted Jump gave. It's popular for a reason. People like it. Fans that love this band almost virtue signal that we are too good for the hits. If you really like Van Halen and you only love the deep cuts, or can you can, if you really like Van Halen, can you only love the deep cuts? The Van Halen hits were hits because they were and are great. So there we go. We got Scott kind of echoing some of my sentiments in the sense of, like, I feel people downvote certain songs just because they're so popular and it's so obvious. But then again, Chad brings up the point of, do we actually like the song, or is it because it's so popular and it's been shoved down our throats that we say, yes, acceptable, we've accepted it? Maybe that's up to the listener to decide, but it's interesting little thought-provoking mini festos I'm enjoying. And Kevin Brown says he agrees with Scott Everett. He says, I have a guy who listens to my Tom Petty podcast and quite often comments, I like it, but it's overplayed. Whether or not something is popular or played a lot has zero today with whether it's a good song. It wasn't popular or overplayed when it was written and recorded, so just judge it based on that. And then he goes on to basically call you out, Chaz, and I'll read it because, he pays for it. He says, Chaz, are you downvoting only because you've heard it so many times or because it doesn't stack up to other Van Halen tunes? For me, it's always been a throwaway pop song. It's nowhere near the top of my Van Halen ladder, but I would never turn it off when it comes on. And if it does, I'm always going to sing along with it. Hard agree with Scott Monroe. 2. The recording is the absolute perfect tempo. It's a funny thing about some songs, isn't it, that even 5 BPM faster or slower and they lose some of their magic. So that's an upvote, I assume, for Kev there, since he wasn't too negative. So there you go. All
But he
right.
was
And
misunderstood and misinformed. I did not downvote this song. No fucking way. Fake news. Fake
I think
fucking
Mark
news.
he mistook Chaz for Chad in that case. He unfairly maligned
yeah,
Chaz.
I think he did.
Yes.
He tagged
Unfairly
you,
maligned.
but so I believe that is the case. But so I apologize for that. And then on behalf of Kevin, he fucked up.
He will pay
so
dearly. He will pay
Yes.
dearly. It's all right.
he absolutely will. And then finally, we go over to Jeff Brewer, who alluded that he had a manifesto waiting, and here it is. This song isn't even on my top 10 list of favorite Van Halen tracks, but I think it is the best pure song Ed ever wrote. My favorite tracks tend to showcase Eddie Van Halen's visceral, mind-blowing blend of lead and rhythm playing. Mean Street and I'm the One immediately come to mind. However, neither of those come close to the songwriting masterpiece that is Dance the Night Away. It's certainly not an acrobatic song, but the rhythm and lead guitar work in this song is still the work of genius. I've heard people, and even Ed, say he evolved into a better songwriter over the years, but I personally don't think anything he wrote after 1979 was better than this song. Like Chaz has said, so fun to play, so fun to sing. Absolutely brilliant harmony singing, especially coming from a late 70s hard rock act. Some people complain about no solo, but that little interlude of tapped harmonic triads, occasionally arpeggiated, was pure genius, and as Corey and Mark mentioned during the podcast, fit the song perfectly. Absolute upvote. And there you have it. Once
Well
again,
done.
if you want your little your tweets, or if you want to join the Discord and have your little manifestos like these fine people, join the Patreon. Find the tier that's right for you. I guarantee you we have it, and if we don't, let us know. We'll make it. It'll happen. So here we go. Now, since we have this this big wholesome panel of people on the show, a couple of newbies that haven't been on the show now, and I don't know how they feel about Van Halen, but I guess we'll find out. But it is time to do our second favorite thing, not our favorite, but our second, manifestations. Everybody, take a drink. There we go.
Wait.
Here we are. We're gonna manifest the track that we wanna listen to.
For you,
that we want
Wolfie.
the wheel to spin.
Got some
Much
Romney's
appreciated.
Kendall mint cakes for you there, buddy. You know,
Right.
Love
on.
it.
made by George Romney Limited in Kendall, the gateway to the English lakes.
Uh,
Mints.
Corey, I'm gonna start with you just to sort of because you're right there to my immediate right.
All right.
Given the fact that look at that wheel, man. The text is so
Wow.
clear.
17
So big.
songs. 17
We get-
songs left on the wheel.
Wow.
17 songs left, you guys. It's crazy. So given the panel that we have tonight, and given what we have left on the wheel, what possibly would you want to hear? What would you want the wheel to spin us tonight?
Well, I tell you, we're getting a lot of the usuals in the Discord chat. I won't ruin it. I'll let you read the Discord manifestations, but I'm going to go a little bit outside that. We had a couple of Sammy tracks last couple of weeks. We had Dave last week. I'm going to go back to Dave. I'm thinking maybe something from Van Halen 1, because we still have 3 tracks from Van Halen 1. So everyone, we've had manifestations for Atomic Punk. We've had manifestations for Jamie's Crying. How about Little Dreamer? That's what I'm going to try and manifest here tonight. So Little Dreamer off of Van Halen 1.
Little Dreamer. All right. So, all right. I'll throw it over to Rush Rash Man himself, Chaz Mataz. Chaz, you see the wheel there. You see what we have left. I'm sure you've got a little idea of what you want to manifest on the show tonight. So what is it?
Well, I already manifested in Discord in terms of getting Josefina out of the way here.
You did.
But
there it is. I see it.
but looking at this wheel, I mean, Shats, one day this is going to be us, like down to the end. I mean, we're at like 149 Rush songs now. When you could,
It's kind of sad.
right? Look at this. Like, oh man, it's good. They coming to the end of an era, and then like there's so many great tracks. I mean, I'd love to hear. God, so many of these. Can I change what I did on Discord, or can I
Sure, why
add to
not?
it
No,
since we're live?
Yeah, go ahead. You can change it.
Only
I
because
would.
we're feeling generous. Go ahead.
Okay, Bullet Head.
There you
Yep.
go. Sure.
Bullet Head.
Bullet Head. There you go. Chaz wants to manifest some Bullet Head. All right.
There we
all
go.
right. So, Mr. Schatz, how about you? You're looking at this wheel here. What we have left? Any one of these tracks stick out to you that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, well, I on the wheel, what stood out for me was Pleasure Dome Fuck. But now I'm seeing this, and that was really interesting. I've never heard that tune, the Pleasure Dome Fuck. But then I'm seeing there's fuck after a number of these songs. So I'm assuming Pleasure Dome Fuck is not the actual title of the song.
No,
it's just Pleasure Dome.
The fuck is the album title. That's from the album For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. So to shorten it, I abbreviate to put them on the wheel. So it's from the Fuck album. Yes.
We've dubbed the Fuck album. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, there are still a few good ones. I'd love to hear Atomic Punk.
Nice.
Atomic Punk. Often manifested and has eluded us for a long time now. So maybe tonight's the night. We'll see. Keep those manifestation powers. Maybe
I've got the powers for that.
You
song.
could. We have had people just join the show and call their shot. Famously, Eric Sinich did it first. His very first show called out. It was Cabo Wabo. He called out, wasn't it?
That is
that first time.
Yeah.
And we landed on it. So I mean, it might be your time. Might be your time, Shats.
Eric's going to be in. He's going to be in on Rush Rash in a few weeks.
Nice.
So yeah, we're having him in. Yeah. So thank you guys.
That's going to be a real good show. It's good people. Speaking of good people, Scott Monroe, man. Let's see. You did. Oh, do you want me to read out what you have on the Discord?
Hell yeah, I'm sticking with Josephina.
Josephina, that's right. He's riding this train straight to hell. He's on the Titanic and it's going down. But he's trying to manifest the final track for Van Halen 3. He's getting it. He's getting it in now because he's getting prepared. He's preparing for the new venture. So Josephina, there it is. God help us. And Mr. Wolfie, sir, how about you? Anything on the wheel stick out to you that you want to talk about?
Well, so I'm not coming into this as a giant Van Halen guy, and my musical background is, in some different areas, but certainly appreciate Eddie and the band. And I tend to lean, unlike a lot of your audience, more towards Sammy. And I like
my man.
Dope.
I like that. I like the Sammy stuff, and Cabo Wabo's one of my favorite tunes that he does. And so
very good.
I am gonna manifest When It's Love.
All right.
When It's Love. Oh, very good choice. Very good choice.
There it is. Also, yeah, that's right.
That one also has eluded us. That one, which really baffles me, but there it is. So good call. So, and then before I do my manifestation, I'll go over to our Discord. And again, if you join our Patreon, you get to be on the Discord and you get to manifest, and we say it out loud. Like Josh wants Josephina as well.
Very popular.
I see what he's doing here. Yeah, I see what he's doing. I see what's happening here.
In fairness,
but it's fine.
Okay, in fairness, I think a lot of our patrons are missing the live shows, and we're like 3 tracks away from completing albums. We have House of Pain, we have Josephina, and now Summer Nights actually on 5150. We'll finish off that one. So if we spin one to finish off an album, then we can do our ranking live show. So I know folks like Tom are just kind of looking forward to the live show again, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you got to get
So,
Van Halen 3. You got to get that done before we hit our season 3. You got to have that panel discussion.
We have until the spring to get that done, yeah.
We keep joking that the wheel is gonna throw us a curveball, and that will be like the last one that we spin.
Last one. Yep.
Some sort of poetic injustice. I don't know. We'll
hey,
find
we're
out.
trying to help that along here. Let me know if maybe a little envelope or something could help that along. I'm not saying nothing, but
a little
maybe
envelope
could help that along, get that done, by a certain
Don't
time.
you try and destroy the integrity of my show, Chaz.
Find the votes. Find the votes for that song, would you please? Come on.
Find it.
Right.
Well,
I didn't say that.
Who used his godlike powers to spin away from it was Van Halen 1 track. Jamie's Crying actually came up when we had the Bogus Otis boys back on.
That's
We
right.
had to, and again, we've only used the mulligan a couple of times. We haven't been proud of it, but it was necessary. But anyway, Jeff
Oh.
Brewer wants Somebody Get Me a Doctor.
Yes.
That one's also
Okay.
been often manifested and alluded. Chaz's original Josephina. So he's trying to get it over, trying to rip the Band-Aid off. Michael Triplett wants House of Pain. He's ready to get that done so we can do a live show on 1984. So, and then Tom Armbruster wants House of Pain as well because he absolutely wants to get down on that live show. And then of course Josephina by Scott Monroe. So there it is, man. Like they're trying. These fellas are trying real hard to have us put an end to one of these albums that we're so close to. For me though, I think House of Pain is the way to go. I think I want to listen to House of Pain. I think it's time, and I think it's time to talk about 1984 via live. So there it is, with all my manifestation powers going towards a House of Pain. All right, we got all of our manifestations in. We got them locked. Corey, let's see. We've got 6 people on the panel. How many lurkers we got?
Currently, I believe we have 4, so I'll shuffle this thing 10 times.
10 times.
7, 8,
Give it a
9, 10. There
10
we go.
prime.
Wolfie, you're running the odds, Wolfie. We got a line on this one or what? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're the data man, Chaz.
All right, get ready for Big Bad Will. That's what, or Big Bad Bill. That's what I'm.
Big Bad Bill.
That's what I'm gonna, predict is gonna happen. But let's. Sammy's been warming up in the back. Let's see what we come up with here.
Do it, Sammy.
Hey, look at this! Oh, it's When It's Love. All right. Oh, we're so
Close.
Literally
close.
by the skin of its teeth, like
Oh,
on
man.
just barely above the line.
Look at that.
Oh.
Wolfie almost had it. Oh man.
Wolfie called the shot.
Yeah,
Whoa,
Wolfie called the
Beginner's
shot.
luck.
So close to
Hey.
Josephina, man.
Hot
It
damn,
was,
I
ooh,
thought that was happening.
I thought that was
I know,
it.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
Chaz
thought it
had
was
it.
happening too.
So look at that. First
I was
time on
like,
the
it's-
show, he calls his shot and he gets it. When It's Love.
Hot
When it's
damn.
love, we are going
I love
back
it
to
here.
the
I love
Sammy
this
era.
show.
Wolfie's our new number one fan. I love it.
That's it.
Well, I don't want to say too much about this song without sort of tipping my hand, but I mean, everyone knows how I feel about the Sammy era, and I have manifested this track a few times. So yeah, without voting, without saying how we feel about it, any opening remarks before we get started and listen to this track from anybody? Cool. Well then.
Well, I will keep an open
gonna-
mind. I was letting somebody else go first.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Memo
No,
receipt.
hey, maybe it's best. Maybe it's best we just sort of let it play out a little bit and
Yeah.
see where we're at. But this one, I will just say this is one of those, at least for me, a good example of really listening to what Sammy can do, and that's what I'll say. So, Corey, if everybody, if you guys are ready, what do you say we get this thing started?
Well, I wanted to point out one more thing.
Oh,
this,
yeah.
This finishes off OU812. So we did finish off an album here tonight. So
Bam.
our next live show, we're going to be ranking OU812, and that's going to be interesting. I can't wait for
that's
that.
gonna be, yeah, it is gonna be interesting. I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're gonna hear about it. We're bringing Festivus back for this live show.
Festivus.
Yeah, the Festivus of
That's
Van
it.
Halen Records apparently is OU812. All right, so let's go to arguably the biggest hit off of OU812, one of the most recognizable Sammy tracks. This is from all the way back in 1988, When It's Love.
Okay.
So right away, I already know the voting is going to go a particular way anyway, because not only is this a Sammy era tune, but we're going to start off with the very thing that apparently the Sammy haters just can't stand about this era of Van Halen, and it's the synth and the keys. They just can't stand it. They hate it. Like, oh, it's just so bad. The synth and the keys. Why would Van Halen do that? It's like, so I don't know. I'm being facetious, but I just had to point that out.
No. Asked, now answer, please, because you're right. So, yeah, I mean, oh, those keys. It was just, you know what? It's Van Halen light. That's all. And, I guess that's cool if you're standing around and other light music comes on and you're like, you got to be there anyway, and it's on and you can't help it. And then Van Halen comes on. You're like, oh, okay, there's some Van Halen. Fuck. Yeah.
I would say though, I mean, the keyboards come in and it is light and it is poppy sounding and it is ballady and all that stuff. But I think Sammy's vocal on the tune is really powerful. The voice, like the way, Eddie's guitar playing. Yeah, he hits really hard when he's ripping out these riffs and leads on, with guitar, but I feel like Sammy's voice in the tune is just really, really strong, really solid, like not like fluffy, not poppy. It's like powerful, I feel like.
Now, Schatz is a drummer. I want to get his opinion because I have a little side stick going on there and some nice cymbal work. What do you think about like side stick on like a power ballad like this and what Alex is doing kind of on the cymbals there?
Well, it goes along with the beginning of the track with the synth, and he's keeping time, and some cymbal swells is nice, but it comes in hot and heavy. And I always loved Alex Van Halen's drum sounds when he used the rototoms in 1984, and his snare drum sound is fucking iconic. Mm-hmm. I mean, people die to get his snare drum sound. So when it
and the double bass shots,
I don't
the pedals,
some double bass work. I don't think I really know him much as a double, like a driving double bass player. But his toms and his snare drum sound is always just right there and in your face.
Well, it's a great point with the intro here. I mean, to me, I'm really tuning into what Alex is doing. Yes, the keys are there, but to me, it's really Alex that is, the star here so far and just kind of taking us along.
100%. It's those accents that to me sets it apart. 'Cause it's a very nice melody that we're playing on the keys. Not everyone in the chat agrees. Jeff Brewer says, when it's lame, respin. And then he said, Love Walks In Part 2.
Yeah.
Which
it's a very mature Van Halen. That's it. I think it's a mature Van Halen that I would suffer through on Light FM. That's about it.
Tom Armbruster says, I'm not a fan of the click in the keyboard. Jeff comes back and says, Sam's most notorious out of place phlegm hack in a love song. But Scott Everett.
Well, you asked about that side sticking. It's disruptive to the keys. I would rather he was not doing that, actually. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm usually not a fan of it, but I kind of liked it here. But I'm usually not a fan. I can kind of see your point.
I don't know if it's out of place, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it in about a second.
But Scott Everett, the keys are great. Set the tone for a great song, and Bang is about to rock. Damn right.
Oh, yeah. So
let's get back into it, shall we?
Everybody's looking for something to fill in the holes. We think a lot, but don't talk much about it till things get out of control.
Okay, before we get into the big one here, I'm kind of doing some reading on this song, and diehard Van Halen fans who like to crack on Sammy, it's usually about his lyrics. Here we have some very generic, everybody's looking for something to fill in the holes. He's not, elevating the form at all lyrically here, but is it working for you guys? I always thought the lyrics kind of worked for what this song is. It's not, one of his bigger think pieces, or if he ever did really a think piece other than the arm wrestling movie song Over the Top. Winner Takes It All, that's what it's called. I love that song. But the lyrics in this one never really bothered me. Did they bother anybody else?
No, it absolutely fits. I mean, based on, not to, we're only just sort of in the beginning stages of the song, but we know it. The way it's structured, the way the song is, and like maybe they consciously went out of their way to make a sort of a pop ballad. If that's the case, then it's an intentional choice to have the lyrics this way. But even if it wasn't intentional, it still fits. To me, I've never had a problem with these lyrics.
It fits, but to the point I think that Scott made, it's generic. I mean, it's just, there's, and then when it gets into the chorus, it's like, it's just a little cheesy. I don't think this one, lyrically, I don't think it stood the test of time. It is a little too generic.
Not that it's a bad thing. Me. I mean, and this was ultimately Van Halen's third biggest hit, behind Jump and Why Can't This Be Love. Jump hit number 1. Why Can't This Be Love hit number 3. This hit number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. So.
Or is it what Lars says? It's stock. It's kind of stock pop Van Halen. It's kind of what it became, right? This was like such a blueprint song. There were a lot of songs that came after that had flavors of this too.
I think it's fucking stock. Which part of that is unclear to you?
I got you, Chaz. I'm ready for you.
Right?
Oh, boy.
All right. Just going back to the chat here.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, though. There was an interesting blend in the mix. So there to me, the way through, especially the verse here, the keys and the guitar are really so tight in the mix that they're kind of blending together. And I really wish the song might have been stronger for me if they had just brought the guitar up a little bit more, honestly, because it's still got a good Van Halen groove feel to it. But like that I can't tell at a certain point what's the synth and where's his guitar in just this mix in my headphones. So I wish the guitar had more punch to it.
That's fair. And I think OU812 gets a lot of grief for its mix, as does 5150 to a lesser extent. But OU812, I think, is the big offender. So that when everybody heard they were doing remasters of the Sammy era, you're going to do a remix too? And no, we're not getting a remix. We're just getting a remaster. Right. So the shitty mix is going to sound a bit better. But that shitty mix, unfortunately, is still going to be there. For this song, doesn't stick out to me as bad. Tom in the chat says, I don't have any issue with the lyrics. So I agree with him there. Scott Everett says, the lyrics work. So good that he's keeping it about love and not cheesing it out with sexual innuendos. And this love song is not about aliens, so good job by Sam. There you go. At least it's not about aliens. There you go. And Tom says, I like Van Halen brand cheese. I think that's kind of what it comes down to, doesn't it? Like, if Van Halen's going to do cheese, at least it's good quality cheese. It's not government cheese. We're talking about that high quality Velveeta shit that you guys have in the States there. American cheese.
Velveeta's not real cheese.
No. This is sold and distributed by Roma Foods. Symbol of quality all over this cheese, huh? That's what we're hearing.
All right, Mark's back. Let's keep her rocking. All right, so there's those vocals that Wolfie was talking about that I think kind of separates the Sammy era from the Dave era. You can look at the Dave era for being harder hitting, better lyrically, sure, better grooves, sure, but the Sammy era, like Sammy is a singer. We talk about those powerhouse vocals. He's showcasing it on this chorus, and then we got the harmonies going with them. Like that's one thing. Like Eddie and Mikey really harmonize very well with Sammy Hagar.
And to me, the chorus here, really what elevates it beyond the generic, you have, like you were just talking about, Sammy's stellar vocal performance. You got Mikey's harmonies and the call and the response. This is really where it ratchets up for me and it becomes not so generic anymore.
Same.
It's the hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that draws you in. But I was going to comment before. Was Van Halen ever about the lyrics?
Oh, Dave's had
The
some
more
standouts.
and more, the more and more we go through this show, and the way because never in my life have I analyzed more about this band than when we started this show, because it just became apparent that we had to if we were gonna dive into all the tracks the way we're doing. And it has become apparent that lyrics have always been kind of secondary. And especially, I mean, because they kind of have to when you're in a band with Alex and Eddie Van Halen, because they are steering the ship. They're the captains. They are the ones setting the navigation. Dave and Sammy, for lack of a better phrase, are just kind of keeping up, setting, helping sort of, I ran out of ship analogies, but you get what I'm saying. But so then it becomes a conversation of, all right, but the lyrics might not be the greatest poetry we've ever read. However, do they fit the song based on the musical structure? And oftentimes, even though I think a lot of Dave's lyrics are a bit hokey, he is really, really good, as it turns out, with his metaphors, and he's really good about telling a story regardless. Sammy, on the other hand, is either very on the nose with what he's trying to say, or he is just so far out there that I struggle to figure out if he gives a shit or he doesn't. Because everybody will bring it up. I'll do it first. Like the track "Up for Breakfast," for one thing, is probably some of the. Not only is it lyrically one of the worst things I've seen from Van Halen, it's probably lyrically one of the worst set of lyrics I've ever seen in music. And that's saying a lot, considering I've read so many Beyonce songs. And anyway, but nevertheless,
come on, this is the same guy that wrote "Dick in the Dirt." Come on.
Yeah,
he said worse.
And here's
You don't need a second helping.
Yeah, he has, and there are a lot of bands, especially from a particular era, like this era, that were doing the same thing. And whether or not the people say that was more acceptable or not, I think people put Van Halen on a higher pedestal because it's a higher caliber band for based on who you're comparing it to. And of course, there's the discourse between who's the better singer. Is it Sammy or Dave? And of course, you say singer, and that's one thing. Lyricist, and that's a completely different conversation. So when you ask, are the lyrics important in Van Halen? The real cop-out answer is honestly not really. But yet, because of the show and because we're doing this, we have to point them out, and we have to. And when they work, they work, and when they don't, they don't. It doesn't matter who's singing it. So that's sort of my answer to that quandary.
I don't know. I'd put anything on Fair Warning up against anything from OU812 in terms of lyrics, but that's just me.
Yes, I'm with you. And this chorus, oh God, this one just gets me like, come on, couldn't you have come up with something else?
Yeah.
How do I know when it's love?
I can't tell you.
Who said it? Yeah, lame. Yeah. How do I know when it's lame? Yeah. The chorus in this one's really lame.
Hey, Tom.
So let me
cringy. I think they say today
sorry.
cringy.
Let me see if I understand this. You're bothered by the chorus because of the question Sammy's asking, or just what the lyrics actually are? Because
the question he's asking, the way he's asking it, it's just like, oh gosh, I want to hide in the corner if I'm at the high school dance. No, it's just corny. It's goofy. It's not Van Halen. You don't ask, how do I know when it's love when you're Van Halen? Come on. This was not a question Van Halen should have been asking.
And the answer is, I can't tell you.
But it lasts forever.
It'll last forever.
Okay.
Apparently.
Oh gosh, how do I know when it's love? Come on, it's so goofy. It's so lame. It's Van Halen light. Okay, I'm sorry.
I guess I just don't, I don't know, that the whole
it's like lame.
Van Halen would never ask when it's love. It's like, well, number one, yes, they would, because they did. Number two,
fuck.
At this point, you're like, how can you say they would never do something when like
Mark,
look what all of they did in the past?
Look, well, that's where I was at the time, but now, I mean, shit, I'm close to saying I'd rather hear Up for Breakfast. I mean,
Ooh,
honestly, because
no.
to me, that's more in the spirit of
That's
Van
a
Halen.
personal choice, I guess.
Cherries on bananas. No, sir.
Go up
No,
to the
that's
lunch
not good.
pail. I've goofed on that as much as you have, so no, I'm not there. I mean, but honestly, it's actually more in the spirit of my Van Halen than this song. Sorry.
Well, Scott Everett was in high school at the time, and it was perfect for 1988, and he's 100% right on that one. In 1988, this song was huge, and for good reason, because this is what people wanted. Every rose has its thorn. People wanted when it's love. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yo, God, we want to talk about some stupid ass lyrics from the time. Every rose.
Hey,
has
look,
its
I'm
thorn.
glad the
Fuck
band
off.
had a hit, and I'm glad everyone loved it. I'm glad it was so huge. It's just not my flavor of Van Halen. That's all. It's still out
I mean,
there.
that's fair, but I will my final rebuttal is that this chorus, whether you like what he's saying or not, you say it's not Van Halen. It's like, well, actually it is, because most of Van Halen choruses are only the title, and that's it. That's all they're saying is the title of the song. So,
That's true.
know?
True. Fair enough.
We'll give the final word on this to Jeff Brewer.
I never paid much attention to Van Halen lyrics. It's what the vocalist is adding to the song and the vocal melody, and the lyrics were just kind of an afterthought for me, except some of Dave's stuff. His ad lib stuff is very cool, and his showmanship with all of that. But lyrically, I just is your vocal melody adding to the song or detracting from it? That's about it.
That's a good point, and we got a moment coming up in the second verse that really doesn't work. But I wanted to go right back to Jeff Brewer, who says, "I just don't listen to Van Halen for songs like this. I prefer to listen to Journey for this stuff. They make better songs like this." And he says Chaz is exactly right, which is the first time anyone on the planet Earth has said Chaz is exactly right. Holy cow.
Take a screenshot of that. All right. Thank you, sir.
That's your good buddy Jeff Brewer, who says Chaz is exactly
kind
right.
of a backhanded compliment there, Chaz.
All right.
No, you weren't reading the screen. It was fair. It was good.
All right, let's get back to it here.
In a crowd, some shine and some keep you guessing, waiting for someone to come into focus, teach you your final love lesson.
All right, that line has always bugged the shit out of me. We're going back to Schatz's point about it's never so much about the lyrics, it's how it's delivered. Teach you your final love lesson. That's such a clunky line, and he doesn't deliver it well. I'm doing a show right now on Metallica, and we're talking about how James Hetfield, how he delivers a line. 9 times out of 10, it's perfect. He really kind of elevates the material. There's that one time where it's a kind of a clunker. To me, that line was always a clunker. Teach you your final love lesson, just the way it kind of flows out of the mouth, it doesn't work.
Yep.
I couldn't even know.
Yeah, it's like a Joe Elliott kind of moment. Joe Elliott from Def Leppard does that a lot.
Teach you your final lesson in love doesn't fit the line, It doesn't fit in the so he's got
the arc of the story.
The arc. You think there's an arc to this story?
Well, I think that's what Mark was getting at, that it wasn't fitting with
I
the
just
arc
mean
of the story.
I just mean like it wasn't you can't rephrase it because the phrase of the of that bar it wouldn't
it just doesn't work any way you do it.
Try to reword it. Yeah.
It
never bothered me. I never jumped.
Yeah,
out at
it
all.
didn't bother me either. But I get it. I get what you're saying though.
I was always
now it's probably going to bother
his
me, Corey.
Oh my God! Jeff Brewer says Corey is exactly right. Chaz, we got to make sure this show is recorded for posterity because Jeff has now said you and me are exactly right. That's never happened.
What you got, Scott?
Yeah, I was always more confused by his intonation on focus. To me, it kind of sounded like he was saying fungus or something. It's just kind of a weird way he delivers focus.
No, that's a good call. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
That's something Joe Elliott would do. He would pronounce it that way. So it's focus, but he'd say fungus, like fungus, right? That's what happens a lot. I hate that shit. It's just so awkward Because then, like, you sit down, like, say you like the song, you want to sit down with acoustic guitar, you want to play it for somebody, then you get this awkward kind of like thing you got to deliver, and it just makes for a bad situation. Come on.
Fair enough. Scott Everett, we're going to go back to the chat, says, I think change is hard for some people. And as the music and sometimes lyrics matured, I won't say the lyrics matured here, not everyone is able to mature with it. Some people just want to stick with their party Van Halen. And that's fair. Obviously, Van Halen is transitioning here, becoming something big. And every band does this, talking about going back to Metallica. How many fans wanted Metallica to just be, I want Metallica from Kill 'Em All to And Justice, and that's it. Everything else sucks. But, the band...
one back.
Oh, okay. Not even And Justice, we're going master?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Stop there.
I mean, okay. Metallica was never going to be their old thrashy self without Cliff, and that's just the truth.
Good point.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
And you can't, for Van Halen, I guess, you can't party all the time. You have to take some breaks.
No.
I mean, because
like I
look,
said,
Dave tried to party all the time too, and where's that gotten him?
Look at him now. Yeah, I think you and I are in alignment there.
He's banging on hotel rooms doors, asking people if they remember him.
But the word I always use for this band is dynamic. Okay, like if you're doing party all the time music, then suddenly you're stuck in a box and you're stuck in this one particular thing. Van Halen has always been a dynamic band. They can go outside the box. They can do whatever the hell they want if they want to do it, because that's just how good they are. This is an example of, we can do the power ballad, sure. Part of me really hopes, and again, folks, I'm not an expert and I'm not a rock historian. I want that noted. I have to mention it every show. But I like to think that they purposely made this song for the intention of, you know what? They don't think we can do like a powerful rock ballad. Yeah, we can. Let's show.
Yeah. Right. And so to my point, right, the idea that Van Halen would be represented in some musical group somewhere that I wouldn't expect it, and I could be like proud of, hey, yeah, that's Van Halen, so like in a crowd where they're not used to listening to Van Halen, it's nice kind of entry point. It's very pedestrian. It's very safe. It's very pop. It's, the best of the sound of all of that, but just overall, man, right there, just, gosh, how do I know when it's
and look, and not for nothing, not for nothing, but you know what audience really loves the strong power ballads? The ladies. And Van Halen loved the ladies. So if you want, most bands, if they can get the ladies on board, then that means that they've done something right. Oh, so it's not just a dude fest all the time.
I tell you what, did a young Corey Morissette touch his first boob at the age of 14 at a school dance to win its love? Possibly.
All right. Well,
All right, we got a lot to unpack there. We got the bridge leading into the into the guitar solo, and then a guitar solo that's just a little too down in the mix for me. Chaz, let's start with you. What do you think of all that?
So the solo for me was one where I really realized he was going for that bluesy kind of Clapton sound there on this record. This was one of the first things that stood out to me and was like, oh, it is bluesy. And then there are a number of other tracks on this album where he kind of goes down that path more so than I think I ever really called out before. And he did a lot after that, but this was really the first one where I was like, ooh, he's going for like a Clapton kind of blues tone in this, and still trying to be Eddie too. But where again, it wasn't hitting it for me is that the tone wasn't there. And even when he went into the the finger tapping at the end, his tone was just not. Again, it was kind of stuck in this kind of bluesy, saturated tone that I'm not used, or not so saturated, but more clean, that I'm not used to hearing Eddie do. Take that technique in through. So it was kind of like it didn't stand out. So there was nothing really stand out about it other than it just sounded like really different when I first heard it.
And the fact that he's really it's a real nod to Clapton, which it kind of separates it to me a little bit too. What do you think, Mark?
Sounds like Cream, like that solo is very, very kind of a Cream inspired to me when I hear it. I do agree with you, Corey, though. I think it's the solo is a little bit further back in the mix than I would like, but I don't know that because of the nature of the song, though, it's still sound quality wise, it still kind of works. I would like for it to have been brought out a little bit more, but it still works. I can still hear the notes very clearly. Matter of fact, in my younger days, this was one of the solos I would hum to myself all the time, and then crack myself up at the end when Eddie's like letting loose a little bit more, and I'm trying to hum that. Yeah, literally doing that and crack myself up. But I don't know. I've always thought that it should be a source of pride that you've written a really good solo when people can sing it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people got real familiar with this solo, and that's not easy to do. That's really not easy to do. But it's Eddie Van Halen we're talking about, and he did this stuff all the time. So I think the solo absolutely works for the song. It is very Clapton inspired, and you can hear that, and that's perfectly fine. My only problem with it is the fact that it's just a little bit. I wish it were brought out a little bit more, and I don't hate the tone. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe he's like he's switching his pickup a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I feel like I kind of wish it was just a little bit more crunchy. Like maybe the distortion was just a little bit, like just a little bit, not a lot, not a
more
lot,
gain,
not to take
just a little gain,
not to over, not to overpower everything else, but just a little bit more, just to kind of give it more of that little ballsy edge, I guess, to it. But having said all that, I think it absolutely works, though.
How about you, Wolfie?
I think it's a tasty solo, and I think it fits the song. And it is Clapton-esque, but it's definitely Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go to Wolfie, since Shat's cut me off, bugger.
Oh, sorry, man.
You wanted to get my take, Corey, on the
absolutely
on the guitar? I like it. I think it works really well. I'm a big fan of Clapton. I like that tone. I like that style that he was playing. And I agree. I think it fits. I think it fits with the song. I think it elevates the song. And when the solo comes in in that tune, it makes me happy. Yeah.
All right, Scott, you got the final word, my friend.
Yeah, that solo has a lot of personality to it, I think, and I think Mark really said it best. It's memorable. It just sticks with you. You can remember the notes. And let's not forget the bridge before it too. I dig the bridge. I like hearing Sammy and Mikey come in together there. That whole section really works for me.
Perfect. All right, let's get back to it. I just got to call out Alex.
There you go. That was tasty.
That was tasty. And Alex with that great little roll during that section, kind of leading back into the chorus. Gotta give
they
the
sounded like
love.
themselves right there.
Got to give the drummer some love. I know Schatz is going to back me up on that one, but Alex is doing some really good stuff in that section.
Mm-hmm. When I was in my younger days, when I was just sort of developing the vocal ability, I always thought if I can find a way to, if I can just sing half as good as the way Sammy sounds in When It's Love, like especially in this section when he's singing, he's real high in his upper register, and he's just nailing it. I thought, it's like, if I can do that, if I can get up to that, I think I'll have something. Like I'll know. In my brain, I was going like, I'll know I'm a talented vocalist if I can do that, if I can get my upper range up to Sammy's level.
Let's hear it.
Whether or not,
Belt it out.
whether or
Let's hear
not I ever did is that's a debate I leave for everybody.
come on,
else.
let's hear it. Give us a When It's Love. Let's go.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Well, I gotta say, I'm much more comfortable
You
with
gotta
him
pay for
going
that.
there in a song on your All Fans or whatever. Your
Yeah, my all
yeah.
fans.
that's it. But I'm
The new
much more
site.
comfortable with Hagar going that place in a song like Dreams. What he just did in this song, like the you feel it. I hate that part. That's like my least favorite part of this song. That and
Wow.
Mikey's response to it, way too high for me. And I thought, like, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Get all like
Is it the
weird
is-
inside.
Are you saying the high singing is uncomfortable for you?
in this song in particular, and those lines.
okay.
You know, can you feel it? And the way he calls it out that way, the way he sings it, this just has never rubbed me the right way at all. No
Are you
way.
fine with
It's
it in a
called
song like
it's called
Dreams?
passion. It's called passion, Chaz.
I can take his passion in Dreams. I can take it when he's really in it, and it's just like you cannot stop it. It's a force of nature. This feels a little forced for the pop sensibility and the radio hit and the big Hollywood machine that, you know, kind of Van Halen and some of the Van Hagar music became. I'm sorry. This was just kind of what started for me. It was like, he didn't really need to do that. Like for me, it was a little out of place and it was way too high and just, could do without it.
All right.
That's just me. But I appreciate that he can go that high. I would take it in another place.
I think he sounds really good at that upper register in this song, and I think it's powerful when he's that all the way up there, but he's just nailing it too. He's right on the tone and right on the melody, and it's such an impressive range, right, vocally, and that he can maintain that clarity at the very top of that register. I think it's really profound. Very strong.
That all those points, like, I echo. That's like, if it'd be one thing if he was doing it and you could hear the strain in his voice and it's like, oh, Sammy, don't do that, man, you're destroying yourself. But like, no, he did it multiple times and he is in it and nailing it. I was gonna say, Chaz, like, if you had a problem with high singing, I was like, well, you're going to have a bad time on Rush Rash the more you keep doing it, because Geddy Lee's voice, very famously, very high.
Hey, like, hey, man. Yeah. You know what? we're just like you guys, it's a mixed bag. Rush has different eras, just like Van Halen, same singer, but three distinctive vocal styles, or at least five, or what do we say, Shat? 7? Have we landed? How many eras of Rush, right? There's so many.
7.
Oh, about 7 different chapters.
Right? There are over that long a career, right? So yes, there are some songs that way. And like I said, man, Hagar's got plenty of examples, like When Eagles Fly or that other tune he sings. I mean, he's got examples where he soars with the angels, man, and he's truly brilliant. And I don't take any of that away from him. You guys know that. I've been very fair with Sammy. But this one just feels like they forced a lot in to get a big radio hit. And it worked. Okay. That's all I'll say.
And it was successful.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They were great. Plenty of people love it, and I'm in the minority, but for a reason.
Spoiler alert for how this episode ends.
I have a quick question for any of you that have seen them perform this song live. So can you feel that note? The feel note is right spot on. And I question, how many takes did that take to get that note perfect? And could he reproduce it live?
That's a good question, because actually my point was going to be on the can you feel it? I thought he was straining a little bit and kind of struggling, especially on the feel it part.
Yeah, straining to hit that, but the note is spot on. It's not pitchy, it's right on the money. But how many times did it take to get it right? And can, like I said, have any of you seen him perform it live, and can he do it?
I never have, but maybe I'll play a little live clip of this song when we're finished the album cut to see how he hits it, because he definitely doesn't get as high as he does there. I know he's talked about the difficulties he had on Dreams, and how the Don Landy and all that was really pushing him on Dreams to kind of get up there and stuff. So, but I haven't.
It's
really
a
heard
masterpiece what he did on Dreams.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I'm more I'm more concerned with his his voice after that one than I am on this one.
Scott Everett says Sammy always did a great job with this one in concert. So Scott Monroe, did you have anything to add to this one before we keep going?
No, and actually, I think in 2004 when I saw him, they played this. Might not have been the best test case with the state that the band was in at the time, but yeah, I mean, I've never been disappointed with the Sammy performance live. He tends to hit it, when whatever the song is. So no, I think again the range that Sammy displays here is really that's kind of always often the highlight for me of most Sammy tracks. It's what makes his era so distinctive. Dave has his own things that he does really well, and Sammy is really in this song and Dreams, whatever the case may be, he's displaying his strengths, and that high register is really impressive at times. I think paired with Mikey, we can't forget about Mikey. It really takes it to another level for me.
Your bro Scotty E in the chat says he saw them every tour with Sammy. He backed out of that in 2004, and I'm sure he won't try it now. I guarantee he probably won't try that note now when he's going out on the Best of All Worlds tour. Especially if he was backing out of it in 04.
Sammy went out and he hit it every night. He was out there on the stage and he knew where he was playing, and he was a professional, no doubt. Dave had a much different presentation live.
Well, that's
much different goals. Much different goals.
Yeah,
Well,
difference
Sammy,
between Dave and Sammy.
Sammy put out a live album a few years ago with the Wabos, and when he sings "When It's Love," he does a duet with Gary Cherone. He called Gary Cherone out on stage.
No shit. Oh,
Yep.
no. Really? I got to hear that. Okay. I'll listen to it.
Well, I'm pretty sure I can. I'll find the best live clip I can here, probably from live right here, right now. But before we get to there, we got to finish off the album version here. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm being very distracted by Chaz's pornographic hand signals that he's making there. But I really kind of like how they went from just the keyboard melody, and then Alex plays a great little run, and then we kind of get back into the song proper. I really always kind of got that part of the song.
Something a little lighter. We're gonna go la 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 la. Fucking Van Halen. No, sorry. The end of the song is really what killed it. Sorry.
Tell us how you really feel.
It's a call and response, man. They're trying to get the audience involved and like feeling in love. Everyone's feeling it. That's the point,
feel
Chaz.
this.
It's
Yes.
called
Thanks.
passion.
Yeah.
You heartless monster.
As Dave would say, use my hand, I won't look.
You like Def Leppard? Like Def Leppard made a career out of songs like this.
Def Leppard is a totally different experience than what I expect from my Van Halen.
All right.
You ain't, yeah, that's for sure.
And which era are Def Leppard are we talking about? Oh, let's not get started there.
I know you love your Euphoria. That's your
Two
favorite
hands
record,
or
right?
one hand. Those are the eras.
Two. No, but I love parts of 1 up until, and then so yeah. So we're giving too much away, but season 4 of the Regarding series is going to be regarding slang.
Oh, can I be on that show?
Just for Brown.
I
absolutely can.
I would co-host that motherfucker with you because I don't. You can't really see it. I met Def Leppard. The picture's right there. I saw them on Viva Hysteria, and I got to meet the band and saw them do Hysteria.
Nice.
Front to back.
We can swap stories. I met them as well. And so Wolfie, we got our co-host for season 4. There he is.
I've been trying to get a Def Leppard show off the ground forever, and no one would do one with me. So
regarding slang, maybe we can even have Kevin Brown come on, and maybe we can turn him around.
Oh fuck! I tried playing Kevin Die Hard the Hunter the other day. It did not go well.
Can't wait to hear that. I hope you got it recorded. Yes.
What do you say we finish this one out, though?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. All right.
There you have it.
Third biggest single of all time for Van Halen.
Yeah. The closer for us.
A little AFU, too.
OU812.
Now, there you go. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So, When It's Love. Yes. The power ballad of the Van Hagar era. One of a few, but the most. The biggest one, I would say. So, and I think based on the chart readings you just gave, that would apply. So, well, I'm just gonna throw it over to Mr. Poopy Pants over there, Chaz Mataz, and just you'll be the first one. You'll be the first one I ask. Hey, Chaz, When It's Love from OU812, is it what dreams are made of, or is the dream over? What say you? Explain yourself.
After all that.
It is 50.1. I can't downvote it because, like I said, if I was in mixed company listening to someone else's Light FM and this song came on, I'd be like, yeah, all right, Van Halen's represented. But, fuck, it's still kind of embarrassing and don't really want to dwell on it. But, the song itself, I mean, look, I don't know why Corey has never cued in on this, but I think it's a sex song and it's about his boner. How do you know when it's love? You can feel it. And he wants to make it last forever.
It's going to last forever.
Why are you not clued in on this? Go back and read the lyrics. Go back to the beginning and just scroll through it with that filter now in mind. It's about his boner. So it's kind of tongue in cheek.
It's just something you feel together. There you go. Yeah.
Come on. This is what I'm saying. How do you know when it's love?
90% of Sammy Hagar songs are about his boner. We all know this.
I'm going to tell you how you know it's when it's love. It's when you feel it. Well, when am I going to feel it? When we feel it together. Come on. It's his boner. So, you know what? I still think there's a little tongue in cheek in it. As sincere as they were trying to be, I do think that there was a little bit of a joke in it. So I'm 50.1, guys. So don't go. This isn't like major news. This is barely there.
Chaz is using the method I use about 9 Inch Nails songs, where I argue every single one of them is about sex in some way. He's just like that's his Sammy Hagar excuse. So all right, fair enough. Well, there you go. In a surprise move, even for himself, he couldn't downvote it. So there's one you go. So I'm gonna throw it over to Mr. Wolfie Greg Wolf, man. All right, so you've heard it. You've had some thoughts on it, but now we give your final thoughts. I ask you, is When It's Love what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
I give it a thumbs up. You know, I think it's in keeping with this album. I already said I like the Sammy stuff. I like his vocals on it. You know, I don't totally disagree with Chaz. I mean, there's a lot of cheese there in that pop ballad, but I still it's a good song, and it's a fun song. And you know, in terms of the variety of stuff that they've got on OU812, I like that it's there, and it's distinctive, so yeah, I give it the thumbs up.
Right on. There you go. All right. Love it. Shats, we throw it over to you. Another newbie to the show. When It's Love, how does it fare for you? Is it what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
I give it an up. Yeah. And, I think Chaz really struck on something with his analysis of what the lyrics really mean. And I don't know if you guys heard it at the end of the chorus, Viagra. Did you hear that? I kind of heard that. But it's
cutting edge technology way before its time. But yeah,
Sammy's an innovator. We all
they maybe they coined it. But no, it's a catchy, poppy, Sammy Hagar inspired love ballad, and it did them very well. And so you can't say it's a bad song, because it's not.
No, it's golf clap Van Halen. I give them a golf clap.
Yeah. You've had your say. You've enough out of you. We've had your say. We throw it over to someone who we really respect around here, Scott Monroe. All right, you've heard the chatter. You've heard the song. You know it. What say you, man? Is When It's Love for you what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
All right, I'm going to try and bring a little bit more class to the discussion here. So,
Good luck.
Here we go. No, if you had asked me in the late 90s what one of my favorite Van Halen songs was, I would have told you the song When It's Love. The reason, though, is I have an emotional attachment to it. So when I was in high school in my tech class in 1998, we were very close with neighbors across the street. And one of our neighbors, her name was Marie. She died at age 41 of cancer. And we were very close with her family. And I decided to do a video tribute to her after her death, taking lots of family photos. And I played this song over the video tribute that I produced in a tech class for her. So it's always held that emotional attachment to me. And I think that really speaks to, for me, the power of the Sammy era, of kind of having that diversity of sound, of having ballads that, while they, at times may be generic or corny, can really speak to you at certain points in your life, whatever the situation may be. And for me, it made that connection. It made that emotional connection. And it has a really deep-seated importance in my life, because it came at a time where the music was able to bring that kind of solace and to make that connection in a way that I and others needed at the time. So for that, I'm very grateful for the song, and for playing that role for me at that time.
Hell yeah, I love it. Good stuff there. So there you have it. We I throw it over to you, Corey. Man, are you could you possibly be the contrarian of this panel? Because I thought the dead ringer for that was going to be Rush Rash Man over there, but he surprised us. So I throw it to you, sir. Is When It's Love what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
I gotta follow that. Like, come on, I was gonna take it back to boners, and I gotta follow Scott. Come on.
You know how this show goes.
Oh man,
it's like you host it.
What?
something to fill in the holes. This is totally about boners. How did I miss that, Chaz? Jesus, you're right. Ah. Sorry, Scott. I loved your story. I can think about his boners now. God, I got wood on the brain. I really enjoyed this song. I know I'm a little critical about it lyrically and stuff. For 1988, especially the great tune. Well constructed. If I want to, kind of pick it apart musically, I really love what Alex is doing on the drums here. He's doing more on a power ballad than any other drummer. Ricky Rocket's not fucking doing that on a Poison ballad, right? Like Alex
Ricky
is doing
Rocket.
Insert hair metal drummer name here. It's all the same, right? Alex is just that much better. For a power ballad, and what VH1 named it the 24th greatest power ballad of all time, I would rank it higher. It's got some cheeseball lyrics, but like Tom in the chat said, put me down for some Van Halen cheese. And give me that T-shirt, Kevin Brown. Van Halen jeans.
Oh,
yeah.
ready.
Yep. At first, the chat was talking about, you guys talking about Pleasure Dome Fuck being a T-shirt because you thought that was the name of the song. But who's going to walk around in a Pleasure Dome Fuck T-shirt unless you're going to like a porno convention or something? But Van Halen cheese, put me down for that. But this is absolutely, for me, what dreams are made of. Not my favorite by far on OU812. But for just a great power ballad from 1988, I don't think you can get much better than this. Mark Kameyer, I don't even think you were born in 1988. You're such a young pup. You're just a shade over 21 years old. You're still listening to your Taylor Swift and your Weekend and whatever the fuck else. Your Drake, sure, why not? For a young and
Dua Lipa, Dua
Lipa, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think of When It's Love by Van Halen? Is this what dreams are made of, or is the dream tragically over?
God, you said so many like upsetting, triggering things in that statement right there. That trying to get my head straight from all that. Here you go. The year was 87. 'Twas the year of Mark, actually. So I was around. Barely, but I was around. I'm not gonna try and follow up any of what you guys said, especially not Scott's story.
Not Scott, no.
I don't have that deep of a personal story, but I will say that this song, during a time where my pessimism was growing as a youth and learning to rebel, this song actually filled me with a lot of optimism, and that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not all so shitty. Maybe it's not going to be just bleak all the time. Maybe, just maybe, there's some love out there for you. So keep it up. And honestly, I was a slave to the majesty of Van Halen's music. Everything about this song, it works for me. You can call it Van Halen light, you can call it not my Van Halen, all you want, and that's completely fine. That's your prerogative. But the fact is, it is a Van Halen song, and it is one of their most powerful songs. Even if you're not a power ballad kind of guy, this song lends way for for people to kind of get into. It's like, you don't like power ballads, like, well, listen to this one and tell me how you feel about it. And you might still have the same reaction, or you might think about it in a different way. Maybe it's just the power of Sammy's voice. Maybe it's the way the music is structured. As you guys say, there's a lot of really cool things happening on Alex's side of things in the rhythm section, and then Mikey's, oh, sweet Mikey, with those beautiful harmonies. I mean, I'm never going to say a negative thing about that guy ever. So just FYI. And that's really all I got. It's not as deeply personal to me as Scott, but it is definitely a song that I've held with me, and is, I think it actually, for me, based on where I was when I heard it and the way it did make me feel as a young kid, I have to say, I think this one might be my favorite of OU812. I don't think it is their best song on the album, for sure, structurally speaking, but just for me as a personal connection, like, yes, I adore this song. I think it's great. And for my money, I think it is one of the better, if not the best, power ballad songs of 80s rock. And you can put that up against all of them. And I think this one stands apart. But that's my opinion, and that's the way I feel about it. So there you go. And if by my calculation, that's a clean sweep.
It is
Of what dreams are made of. And so now we get to have some fun.
It's
While I
fun for
lose
me
a game.
anyway. That's right.
Yeah.
For all the newbies on the call, we play a little game on the show called How Many Times Have Van Halen Played When It's Love Live? And you're hearing the Price is Right theme because we play Price is Right rules. You have to get closest to the actual number without going over. If you get this right, Mark Meyer will come to your house and sing you a song while you try and make tender love to your wife. All right, here we go. How many times have Van Halen performed When It's Love? Let's start with Thief of Joy, Chaz Mataz. Chaz, how many times do you think Van Halen played this song?
Oh, shit. All right. So this game, sorry, we're having too much fun over here. So it came out in what, 88?
88,
They toured. How many times did they tour before they broke up?
Just once.
Just once. Shit. Then they played it 73 times.
73 times? Is that your official guess?
That's, oh, no. Okay. 115.
115. All right.
There you go.
Let's go to Wolfie now. Wolfie, how many times do you think Van Halen performed in their concert career the mega hit When It's Love?
I'm going to say 200 times.
200 times. All right. Scott Monroe, let's go to you next. How many times do you think Van Halen performed When It's Love?
It was a staple during the Sammy era. They busted it out in 98.
Mhm.
I'm going to go with the flat 300.
300. All right. Chats, we're coming to you next. How many times do you think Van Halen performed When It's Love?
Who are you asking? You
Chet.
cut out there for a second.
That was you, my
Me?
friend. Yep.
Oh, it's up to me?
Yep.
Oh, well, okay. So what do we got? We got 115. We got 200.
200. We got 300.
300.
Yep.
I'm going to say, ooh,
There's no actual
225.
prize. You don't have to think too hard. 225. All right.
there's no new car? What are you talking
no new
about?
car. All right, Mark Meyer, it's
225.
your turn now. So the high bid right now is 300. Shots came in at 225. How many times do you think Van Halen performed When It's Love?
140.
140. Interesting. Well, I tell you, in the chat, we have Scott Everett at 450, Jeff Brewer at 500. But there can only be one winner here tonight. Scott Monroe, you are tonight's winner. The correct answer, 389 times. 389. So I'm impressed nobody went over. In the chat, they all went over. But you guys, nobody went over. But Scott Monroe is the closest. So expect Mark Meyer showing up at your door to serenade you as you mow the lawn or something. I don't know what you do for fun. So,
Once the 8 feet of snow decides to melt, which I don't know when that will be. So, hang tight.
now I was able to, I think I have queued up When It's Love from Live Right Here, Right Now. If you guys want to hear a little bit of it, we'll see what Sammy does that are in that section.
Do you have it at the particular section that we were talking about?
I have no idea.
That sort of bridge.
I have no idea.
Okay.
We're going to find out, though. What do you think? Let's try it from here. Still pretty powerful a voice way back in 92, 93 when this concert was.
He
very
nails
impressive.
it. He doesn't elongate that last note as much as he does on record, but he still hits it. And he still hits, you can feel like that, the high falsetto. And actually, that sounded way more powerful live than he did on record.
Yeah,
So-
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So that's a win in my book, but I mean, I'm not shocked.
Okay, well, and a much different. I mean, when they're live, obviously the sound is much different. The guitar is much more prominent here, and it probably would have gotten a much higher vote from me if they had done that on the record. Because yes,
Yeah,
I've heard the live version, and this whole album live is much better than it is on the album.
That's very true.
Every song that they ever played that I've heard.
Well, and let's not forget though that Sam re-recorded his vocals for the live album.
That's right. Yep.
Ah.
Which can happen. I mean, there's
Forget
probably
that. I did.
yeah,
forget
there's
that.
probably some variables of in the
Okay.
live mix. Vocals were probably shit.
Hmm.
Maybe they decided to record on a rough night. Happens all the time. So you know, either way,
There's a
either
whole
way, he
big
still
story.
does
Go
it.
to the Van Halen news desk and check out their write up on Live right here, right now. There's a whole big write up on the whole
There
thing.
you go.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
All right, you guys, we did it. When It's Love, another one off the wheel, and that
Wow.
completes our OU 812 journey.
Yes.
So, to all the listeners out there, be on the lookout on our socials because we will be having a live show very, very soon to discuss and rank.
Let's do it right now.
812.
I'm ready.
Well, we can't do it right.
Oh.
Get your ranking done.
I mean, like, you say you're ready. I don't know how long your internet's going to hold out in that blizzard.
That's
but,
true. That's
we'll
true. It's
see.
very cold.
So I don't know. Like maybe I'll grab my bottle of whiskey and like, all right, let's do this. But
Yeah, there ain't no hanging Chaz's around here.
That's
No
right.
way. It's too damn cold.
It's
Oh,
too
yeah.
cold to be hanging anything. That's right.
That's right.
yeah, we're not hanging. Yeah, not hanging nothing. So there you go. Well, this has been a star-studded event, I'll say. Even with our newbies on the panel, still a star-studded event, and we kind of owe that all to our resident grumpy man, Chaz Mataz. So, Chaz, you take some shots. We throw some shots at you. You take them with stride, and we appreciate you for it because we always enjoy having your presence on here. It is you've become a staple on the show even early on. So we can't hate on you too hard because it's like it's all love.
Yeah.
So,
It's all
so thank
love.
That's right.
It's all
It's all
love. So
love.
thank
you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. So please, once again, let the people know what you got going on and give your esteemed guests an acknowledgement as well, would you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, thank you. You know, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing if you guys weren't doing what you were doing. And so we take everything we got. And that is not an understatement, correct, Schatz? We take everything we've got from you and then some.
I felt very at home here.
Yeah, and Wolfie is definitely feeling the similarities as well. So yeah, if it wasn't for what you guys are doing, we really would not have shows. We wouldn't have a format. We wouldn't be on the Deep Dive Network, and we wouldn't have on Rush Resh people coming up like Eric Senich and Mark Kameyer himself coming in a few weeks. We've got other folks, Fedge Herb, the guy, a drummer from Solar Federation, bunch of other guests coming in, Joe Cruz, you name it. Scott Haskin just booked Scotty today. In
Nice.
fact, he'll be coming in March. So thanks for that. And you heard our big news, Wolfie. We got you want to talk again about regarding series and what we're doing with Scott here?
Yeah, sure, Chaz. We're getting geared up to bring Scott into the fold for season 3 of the regarding series, where our motto is "We listen so you don't have to," and we will be listening to Van Halen 3 track by track with Scott and with Chaz and myself, and when it will be our next season after we finish up with the Roger Waters Dark Side of the Moon Redux album that we're working our way through. So we're excited for season 3.
Absolutely.
on.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So we've got a stable. It's 4 of us. More to come. Corey joining us for season 4. Official announcement. You had 2 announcements tonight. 2 official announcements. One, Scott Monroe, season 3 and season 4. Corey Morissette regarding slang. You heard it here first.
Well, he's the CMPU might be dwindling a bit, but it's not dead. And I know Corey's been aching to get some Def Leppard talk in for
It
quite
ain't
some
dead
time.
yet.
So
No.
it ain't dead yet. Yeah, so he will he will be gladly with bells on and with both hands ready to applaud and be ready to talk about some Def Leppard with you. So that will be some fun stuff. I can't wait to tune in for that, just because the hilarity and I'm sure chaos that will come with it as well. And I'm looking forward to Rush Rash as well. So you guys, go to podcastwillrock.com, where you can find all our backlog episodes. You can even find links to our merch store. Buy yourself a t-shirt. Why don't you get you a Apologies to Gary t-shirt and let the army grow? Like I said, I want to see an army of you guys out there wearing these shirts, because eventually Gary Sharon, maybe he already knows about it, but eventually he's just gonna scratch his head and go, what the hell is with all these shirts? I gotta find out. And you gotta direct him to the podcast, and then maybe he'll chat with us. And if he does and he's still cool with it, we'll direct him like, hey, by the way, you need to go check out this other show called Regarding Van Halen 3, and you can get some inside scope. So we're looking out for you guys, and hopefully everyone's looking out for us, and it's all love. And speaking of love, we love the people that are on our Patreon, because you guys are the reasons you're keeping the light on for us, keeping us motivated to keep going. And you've been with us for such a long journey. So I just want to take a moment and thank the patrons like Matt Lacoste, Nate from the Deep Purple Pod, Rava Flav, Josh Caldwell, Greg Zito, Michael Griffith, Chaz himself, Chaz Charles, Sean McGinnity, Kevin Brown, Per Lineker, Scott Monroe, Ryan Powell, Jeff Brewer, Tom Armbruster, Scott Everett, Heath McCoy, Janice Risco, Brad Gould, Michael Triplett, Davey Lee Smith, and Chad Pollock. Thank you all so much. And Chaz and Scott on the call right now, thank you guys so much for contributing, man. It's always a pleasure, and we always love having you contribute your thoughts, whether it's mini festos or what have you. It's all good. It's great. We love it. You guys, when you join the Patreon, you get to be part of the Discord, get involved in the conversations. They never end, and it's always interesting and awesome. So do that. Find a tier that's right for you and join us. And because the journey is not quite coming to a complete end, but this iteration of it is slowly but surely coming to its fruition. So get on while you can. Yeah, I know it's crazy. So
what
get
a
there
ride
while
it's
you can,
been.
because it has been quite a ride. So I don't know if you want to do the run through of the deep dive podcasting stuff.
I got 2 shows I got to mix. I am going to count on this. He's got to do it.
All right, here we go. Hit record,
All
Chaz.
right.
We're going to talk about the Deep Dive Podcasting Network, featuring such shows as Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, wrapping up this week. Our final episode is dropping this Wednesday, so check it out. Check out our final Aerosmith mixtape. Our best 19 songs we think best represent the band Aerosmith. Myself and Scott Haskin do that show, and Kevin Brown joins us to help moderate the final episode. But the Corey Morissette Podcasting Universe is ever shrinking, because we have that show coming to an end. Backtracks theme music also done, but you can check out all of our back catalog of shows wherever you get your podcasts from. But if you got a hankering for me, I can't fucking imagine why, but I do a show with Kevin Brown called The Ultimate Catalog Clash, where season 2 we're talking about 90s Metallica. We talked about the Black Album. We're talking about Load and Reload as well. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts from. And please check out these other great shows on the Deep Dive Podcast Network, including The Tom Petty Project featuring Kevin Brown, Seaside Pod Review with Kevin Brown and Randy Woods, Uriah Heep, The Magician's Podcast, that's Scott Haskin Show, Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast, The Simple Man at Skinnerd Reconsidered, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts, Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Paul, Joe, and David at In the Lap the Pods. That one is wrapped up too. You can catch all the back episodes of that one wherever you get your podcast from. And then we have Andy and Mac at Hawk Binge, Eric and Jonathan and Maiden A to Z, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madmen, the Ultimate Aussie Podcast, Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast, Clay and Rye at North by South Podcast, Greg and Jonathan at So Far, So Pod, So What, Quinn at End Volume for All, Sav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette Podcast, and then we have the Chaz Charles Podcasting Universe featuring Regarding Lulu with Chaz and Greg, Rush Rash with Chaz and Chats, Chaz and Wolfie at Regarding Roger Waters, and coming soon to a podcast player near you, Regarding Van Halen 3 with Chaz, Wolfie, and Scott Monroe. And then you can check out all of our other friends, including the DLR Cast, the Bogus Otis Show, You're All Doomed, a Friday the 13th podcast, the Sean Geek and Fast Fred podcast, Booked on Rock with the legendary Eric Senich, Dissect That Film, Three's Company 2, a rewatch podcast, and the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, the one and only Pod of Thunder. This week they did a Helix song. Man, I was, as a Canadian, that warmed my heart in the frozen tundra of Canada right now that they did a Canadian band as Helix. That was a heck of a lot of fun. So go check out Pod of Thunder.
Oh yes,
absolutely. All right, and on behalf of everyone on the Rush Rash crew, and on behalf of Corey and myself, stay warm, you guys. Winter has come. Winter landed flat on our faces over here, and Corey. Well, I mean, he's in Saskatchewan, so what are you gonna do? It's just nothing but blizzards over there.
Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. How do you say that?
Saskatchewans. That's
all we say.
That's
now.
how you say it. Yeah. That's my favorite moment of that doc too, and that there's
how do you say
lots.
Yeah,
that's how you say it. So stay warm, stay safe, be well, be excellent to each other, and rock some Van Halen while you're at it. We are, and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you later.